Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm a little bit late today. I'm so sorry. I scheduled this podcast, and then I totally forgot. I did a bunch of other stuff, but we're going to jump right into this now. It looks like Ice Cube is going at it with the NBA. It looks like the NBA is dealing with NWA, and I'm going to break down what's going on with this antitrust suit and also talk to you about some of the variables that can determine whether or not there's been some sort of anti competitive behavior on the part of an organization. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Please, none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I want to jump in and talk about this suit between Ice Cube and the investigation of the NBA, not the NWA, the NBA, for violating antitrust laws when it comes to Ice Cube's Big Three League. Okay, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Share, subscribe, and all this other good stuff. And we're going to get started very soon. First off, I want to apologize. I am so sorry. I scheduled this podcast for 2 hours ago, and for some reason, I guess my brain, I get one track minded, and my brain gets a little scattered. And I was off doing something else, and I looked down and I said, "Holy crap! I scheduled this and I didn't show up." So please, I hope you can accept my most sincere apology for being a little bit absent-minded. Give me a yes if that's okay for me to be a little stupid sometimes. I am not a perfect man. If you don't know that by now, you will never, never, never know me because I ain't perfect and I mess up all the time. And I apologize in advance for all the other times I'm gonna mess up in the future. But let's get it cracking. So, how many of you have been paying attention to Ice Cube's Big Three League? Give me a yes if you have noticed the Big Three. If you appreciate what Cube is trying to do. Ice Cube has been on this channel on a couple of occasions. I have talked to him extensively, especially during his time where he was doing the extraordinarily good job of taking on the Bidens and the Trumps and everybody else in terms of what they were doing for Black folks. I was in complete agreement, complete support. I like the guy. I think he's a smart individual, and I have a lot of respect for him now. And I want to say that I have to reiterate that because some people think that because I critique rappers, I don't like rappers. No, I like rappers. I just don't be out here trying to murder Black people and destroy our children and turn our girls into little hoes, and then we're good. We're good. I am a defender of my community. So if people have a problem with that, then you know what? If you don't like how I'm living, well, F you. Remember that when Ice Cube said that back in Dope Man? Anyway, let me get back to it. Let's jump back into what's going on with Ice Cube and the NBA. So it looks like it might be NBA versus NWA because the NBA, according to various reports, is being investigated for alleged antitrust behavior as it relates to Ice Cube and his Big Three League. The NBA does not like a lot of competition. The NBA enjoys the idea of the Black man being the high paid slave. They don't enjoy the idea of the Black man saying, I want to actually own the league too. I want to have assets just like you. I want to be a boss just like you. So they don't like that so much, and I get it, right? You're going to fight and defend your power. Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics, he explains that very well in terms of what you can and cannot do in this society very easily. Now, it does not mean you can't get it done. It just means that you're going to get some pushback. So the NWA, they defend their assets, they defend their territory, and I think that this investigation obviously is long overdue. The investigation of the NBA. I keep saying the NWA. I don't know why I keep wanting to say that, but I guess because it's like Freudian slips and stuff. But I think the investigation is necessary. I think that it's required to ensure that there's going to be fairness in terms of how this thing happens. Now, what will it amount to? I don't know. Let me just say this: the United States is not very good at enforcing antitrust law. Let me just be honest about that. The United States as a country doesn't really challenge companies uh, that often when it comes to what is in many cases seen as a completely clear, highly egregious anti-competitive behavior. It's something that happens all the time. It's something that people complain about all the time. And Apple, Google, Meta, all kinds of companies, Amazon, a lot of these companies get regularly accused of antitrust behavior, anti-competitive behavior, and it doesn't usually amount to anything. However, things can change, right? And I support what Cube is doing. And what I'm going to do today, if you allow me, is I'm going to help give you some game on how this stuff works and what to kind of look for in these antitrust situations and whether or not the NBA may be in violation. Now, if you want to know in terms of just sort of the background of anti-competitive behavior. Uh, the premise of anti-competitive behavior starts with some laws that came out many years ago. There's one of the most famous laws is the Sherman Antitrust Act. The Sherman Antitrust Act came out in 1890. This is kind of the granddaddy of antitrust laws. It outlaws all contracts, combinations, and conspiracies that unreasonably restrain trade. And this came out during the era of the robber barons. This came out during a time where people did pretty unethical things in order to eliminate the competition. A lot of mainstream business was kind of like the dope game. If you wanted somebody off your block, you just went and took them out. And they basically said this is not a good way to do business because it takes away opportunities for smaller businesses to get started. And so, in my view, any investigation of the NBA that might be taking place. Again, this is what Complex reported. I don't know all the details of the antitrust investigations or anti-competitive practices investigation, but I imagine it's linked somehow to the Sherman Antitrust Act. Let's keep going here. The Federal Trade Commission Act of 1914. This established the FTC to oversee and prevent unfair business practices. So the FTC is basically who you call they're the cops in this situation that are supposed to deal with companies that are engaged in antitrust behavior. The problem that you have in this country, the big problem you have, is that in many cases the cops are not on their job. In many cases, in fact, did anybody watch that documentary or that movie on Netflix about Madoff, Bernie Madoff, and how much money he stole and how crazy it was? And did you know that the Securities and Exchange Commission had been warned about Bernie Madoff many times, and they just ignored it. They just said, "Oh, he's good. He's one of us. He's cool." And then later on, when they find out that he was running one of the biggest Ponzi schemes I think the biggest Ponzi scheme in American history, a lot of people looked really stupid because this was laid at their doorstep. This was absolutely laid at their doorstep. So the FTC doesn't do a good job of enforcement. They're just not really on it. There's another act called the Clayton Antitrust Act. This act addresses specific practices that the Sherman Antitrust Act does not clearly prohibit, like mergers or interlocking directorates. That's when the same people are running competing companies, right? So if you, so in this country, you can't go and say, I'm going to, I want to own both McDonald's and Burger King, or I want to go own Walmart and Target, right? Because you can't sort of play both sides of the ball. All right, so let me read a little bit more. We're talking about Ice Cube and his situation with the NBA and how the NBA is allegedly, according to Complex, I saw my brothers over at Earn Your Leisure mention it as well, that they are being investigated for engaging in anti-competitive practices against Ice Cube. Now, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. What's up to everybody on TikTok? If you have a question for me, just know that you can ask me questions every Tuesday at Stock Market Tuesdays. If you'd like to join our stock market investing class, just go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's THE, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. The first 30 days are free, and you can talk to me all day, and we talk about stocks and all that stuff and investments and making money and everything else. And also, we're going to have a meeting of our Prime program where we do stock options. So if you'd like to join us on Monday, just go to drboyceprime.com. All right, so here are some signs that the NBA may be in a violation of antitrust law. Okay, so you ready? So here are some things that that the FTC looks at when they're deciding if a company is in anti-competitive practices. The first is market power. If a company controls a huge portion of the market for a product or service, it might have too much power. This doesn't mean they've done something wrong, but it is a red flag. So too much market power. It's kind of interesting that too much power by itself is a red flag. That's kind of strange, but that's one of the things that has to occur because there's a time where the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and the JP Morgans had way too much power, to the point where there was no end for any new businesses that wanted to be created. They would gobble them up and destroy them. And a lot of tech companies have done this as well. Monopolistic behavior. This is when a company uses its power to eliminate its competitors. So what Ice Cube appears to be saying is that the NBA is not helping me. They're not supporting me. They're fighting us. They're trying to stop us from being able to build. They're keeping us away from their prize Negroes. Their athletes can't come in and play for us. They got to go play for the league, and they allow them to do all these other things all around the world, but they don't let them come play in the big three because they're threatened by me. And I think that that's 100% true. Why would you go play for a bunch of pasty old white dudes if you could go play for a brother like Cube? Cube is, he's a real black man. I've talked to him extensively on the telephone. I like talking to this guy, and I would rather play for Cube. I don't give me a yes if you'd rather play for Ice Cube than to play for I don't know, some owner like a Jerry Jones type of owner. I don't know any of the names of the NBA owners, but so I'm thinking Jerry Jones, right? That's the prototype. And so anyway, that's what I think they're concerned about, right? Or who would you rather go play for? Would you rather play for I don't know, what's the guy's name, Nick Saban, or play for Coach Prime, right? I'd rather play for Coach Prime because Coach Prime is a black man. He's more relatable. He gets you, right? Nick Saban would have a harder time with that. So let me keep reading here. What else? Mergers and acquisitions. Sometimes companies buy other companies. If this purchase means that there will be less competition in the market, it might be blocked or restricted. So they review different mergers, like Microsoft bought Activision. That merger was withheld and reviewed for many, many months before they actually allowed it to go through to make sure Microsoft didn't have too much power in the video game industry. Price fixing. This is when companies secretly agree to set their prices at a certain level. So if all the companies in an industry get together and say, okay, none of us can charge less than $10 for our product, then that's illegal. You can't do that. You can't price fix in that way. The NCAA is allowed to get, this is one of the reasons why the NCAA has robbed the black community of probably at least $100 billion. The way they robbed the black community for at least $100 billion is they basically all got together. All the universities got together and said, let's form a coalition where we all agree not to pay our prize Negroes more than a college degree. The most you will get is tuition. That's it. And this to me was highway robbery against the black community. If you go back 25 years ago, I was writing about this when I was a graduate student at the University of Kentucky. I was working on my PhD. I was teaching classes in the math department. I was tutoring athletes who were working 80 hours a week, trying to keep up with a sports schedule and a class schedule, which was nearly impossible, and they couldn't even afford a bag of groceries. At the same time, there were coaches who were making millions of dollars, not from their own labor per se, but from the labor of the athletes that were being put on the field. There is no game without the athletes. You can have a game without the coaches. You can have a game without the administrators. You can have a game without the commentators, but you cannot have a game without the athletes. And I did not understand as a 24, 25-year-old, why in the world are you allowing these guys to get all the money and these guys to get none of the money? Well, when you dig deep into it, and this is what made them so afraid of me, because I understood this stuff better than they did. Also, I was a black man who understood it, and I was a black man who wasn't afraid to break it down. I was a mathematician. I could break down the mathematics behind exactly how many billions you're stealing from the black community. And I explained this is a racial issue, because you're doing this mostly to black people. And so when I would do that, in fact, I know that they heard me, because I met with one of the players on the University of Kentucky basketball team named Derek Anderson. His assistant coach, who was a black man, said, you need to hear about this guy named Boyce Watkins. He runs his mouth a lot, but he has some interesting things to say. So he brought Derek to my office at the University of Kentucky in the math department. He had to sneak Derek into my office. I kid you not, because the coaching staff had specifically told the athletes, pay attention now, this is a racial issue. The coaching staff had specifically told the athletes, do not read this guy's articles. And so, but he snuck him into my office like he was a runaway slave, and we talked. And I remember Derek telling me that that the coach, what the coaching staff had told them. Another guy, Derek, he went on, he played for the San Antonio Spurs. He was a great athlete. Another guy named Nazir Muhammad, he also went to the NBA. We had similar conversations, and I said to them, even back then, even when I was much younger, I was literally half the age that I am right now. I said to them, I said, anybody who blocks you from having access to information that will liberate you is not your friend. Give me a yes if you agree with this, that the blocking of information and the blocking of access, the blocking of opportunity from Black men and Black women has been one of the most racist things that a white supremacist society has done. Every Wednesday night when we're reading Dr. Claude Anderson books, we're reading Powernomics, we've read Black Labor, White Wealth, we're reading the Black History Reader. Every week you can see that there's a long track record of blocking to ensure that all the wealth is in the hands of one group and that none of the wealth gets into the hands of the others. So what Ice Cube is effectively doing by creating a sports league and transforming himself from slave to owner is he's breaking copy about that. They're like, wait a minute, hold on, wait, we're supposed to get the lion's share of the money. You know, and the athletes, I mean, don't get me wrong, NBA players do well. They get, their contracts are beautiful. They're far better than they used to be. Absolutely. No. So I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for NBA athletes. I cannot feel sorry for somebody who made 10, 20, 30 million dollars a year. I just need some of y'all to start building infrastructure in your community. Call me and I'm gonna show you how to create 10, 20,000 jobs instead of going around driving Lamborghinis and buying European jewelry and giving all your money away to the Kardashians and doing all this other dumb shit that I see. That drives me crazy. I want to see you building something. I want to see you creating jobs, owning school systems. I want to see that. That's what we need. But besides that, though, I don't feel bad for them, and I hope that they do well. But here's the thing: so when Ice Cube is running his own league, that is a problem for them. I am absolutely convinced that the NBA is not at all on any level happy that Ice Cube and his business partners, it's not just Cube. Let's be real. It's not just Cube. He's got partners, right? It's hard to do something on this scale without partners. I really believe that they are sitting there thinking, this sucks. How do we get rid of this guy? How do we block him? Just like I told you about the history of blocking, like the same way they block NCAA athletes from getting access to the wealth, they're blocking other people from having ownership in assets and property that will dig into their economic power. In fact, it's so devious that the NCAA, when they had a competitor, I think it was like the NAIA or something like that, when they had a competitive league pop up, they went and bought the league for a really high price just to get rid of the competition. So they have a track record of a lot of these sports leagues, NFL, NBA, NCAA. They all have a track record of saying, we don't want any competition at all. And this fits right into the narrative of white supremacy because there is a process where your government allows them to get away with it. Do you understand? The NFL is allowed to run their monopoly without any interference from the government. So the thing about it, though, is that if you want to know where my brain is, again, I started talking about these things when I was 24, 25 years old. The articles are still out there. The NCAA would never debate me. Whenever I would go on CNN to debate this issue, the NCAA would never send a representative because they knew that it's hard enough to debate me anyway because I'm not a stupid person, right? So a Black man with a PhD who's not afraid to talk to you is a very scary thing. But it's even harder when you're trying to defend a lie. They have known for the longest that they're trying to defend a lie. So you will never see them say, hey, I've got nothing to hide. Let's lay it all on the table. Let's debate. Let's share information. They'll never do that because they know that that they're engaged in some practices that would probably not stand the test of scrutiny. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And in case you don't know, I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can find it on Amazon. It's now on Audible. It's a bestseller. You guys love it. You asked for it on Audible, so my team put it on Audible. It's not my voice. I don't have time to go read through a whole book like that. But we hired a good brother who did the Audible for us, and so you can go Penny Thomas Penny. I believe that's his name. I never met him, but he has a great voice. He sounds like this. He has a voice that's built for like reading things, and so anyway. Tom Penny's voice sounds better than mine anyway. So if you want to get it on Audible, you can go to Audible and download the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. All I ask is that when you get the book, you go ahead and leave a review so others can know how impactful it was for you. I know thousands of you have read it already, and I know it's changing your lives. Also, in fact, we also created so you can explain these concepts to your children easily. We actually have some flashcards that can go with the book that you can use to train your children on these rules. So your kids will be on code. They'll understand how to build and defend the family empire. They will understand the importance of pouring into their community. They will be the righteous, powerful economic soldiers that our community needs. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com and you can take a look. If you want the Audible version, just go to Audible and it's on there too. Just look up my name. And also this podcast is on Spotify and Apple. So if you look up my name there, you'll find me there. All right, so let me finish reading. So we're talking about Ice Cube and his battle with the NBA. And we're talking about also the NBA allegedly being under some sort of investigation for alleged anti-competitive practices against Ice Cube. Now, do I know that that this is actually going on or the formal nature of the investigation? No, I know that people are talking about it. And so I decided to break down some of this for you so you'll know what's going on. Here are a few other signs of anti-competitive behavior. So we mentioned various mergers and acquisitions to control market power. We talked about fixing prices. We talked about monopolistic behavior. Now there are a few others, tying and bundling. So this is when a company says, if you want to buy this product, you also have to buy this other product. So when they force you, and I think Microsoft did this, Microsoft got their butts kicked in some antitrust investigations. And I think they used to do something like, if you want to get our computers, you have to have our software in our internet browser or something like that. And they basically said that's anti-competitive. You can't force people to buy something else. I think Apple does it. I think a lot of companies still do it, but that is technically something that you're not supposed to do. What else? Exclusive dealing. Now, this is maybe where it fits in with Ice Cube. Let's look at this. The last two. I wonder if this is where Cube's head is at right now. Exclusive dealing. This is when a company forces its customers to only buy its products and not products from competitors. So it's like if you have a music artist and you say that you can only listen to their songs if you promise not to listen to any other artist. Now, this is not specifically what the NBA might be doing or specifically what they might be accused of, but I think that there is some effort to control the supply of labor. It sounds to me, again, I haven't talked to Cube in a few months actually. I got to reach out to him. Cube, if you listen, and just shoot me a text, and you can come on here anytime. But I get this sense that there is an effort to control this $1 trillion asset called the black athlete. What do y'all think? Do you think that there is an effort to control black bodies in a country that has made trillions of dollars off of black bodies? Do you think that maybe these black bodies are an asset that they're trying to maintain and keep from letting other people use? What do you think? Do you think that maybe there's something there where there's some sort of incentive or disincentive for the athletes to go and say, because think about this, right? An athlete who's playing in the NBA could say, hey, in the summertime, I'm gonna go play with Cube. I want to go, because you let me go play in the Olympics. You send me over to Europe. You send me on these NBA promotional tours, or I can go play overseas. But how come I can't go play with the homie from South Central? Why can't I go play with him? Well, we don't want you to. You can't. Your contract, according to the terms of your deal, in section 2, paragraph 6, sentence C, it says here that you may not. But that it's up to the discretion of the team owner to decide if you will be okay, right? We know what that is. I would not be shocked if Ice Cube has a hard time getting labor that is already committed to the NBA. I bet you that if he says, let me go see if I can hire some of their referees. What do y'all think? If he says, hey, you're a referee for the NBA, you do a really good job in your free time. As a side hustle, would you like to come and referee some of our Big 3 games? Do you think that the NBA maybe has some barriers to allowing that to happen? I'd be willing to bet you. How about this? I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And the fact, if such barriers exist, that speaks to the suspicion that there is some effort within the NBA to keep other leagues from being formed. But the reason that this fight is important, the reason I'm taking the time to talk to you about it this morning is because I've said repeatedly, y'all Negroes need to stop being high-paid slaves. You just do. You got to stop. I'm tired of celebrating hip-hop artists who are billionaires who ain't created a damn job in the black community since slavery. I'm tired of hearing about athletes making all this money but can't even get into the owner's suite. I don't celebrate. I mean, the NFL is actually far worse. The NBA allows a little bit of ownership for black people. So I think the NBA is not as terrible. But at the same time, the vast overwhelming majority of that wealth that comes from the ability of the black athlete ends up being extracted and going to other communities. It just does. And here's the thing. Your ancestors understood it better than you do. 50, 70, 80 years ago, they had their own sports leagues. They had their own version of NASCAR. They had their own league. And you name the sport, we owned a league in that sport. So I'm trying to understand why it's so difficult for me to help to get people to hear me when I say that for all the wealth that's created when they sign another multi-million-dollar athlete, there is 100 times more wealth that is available for the rest of the community if there are leagues that are owned by us. Now, what is Ice Cube going to do in that regard? How many black jobs is he going to create? I don't know. I can't say. I don't know the inner workings of that league. I have to be real clear because sometimes people think that because somebody's my friend, I know everything about their business. I'm telling y'all right now, I don't know all the details of Ice Cube's ownership structure. I don't know who he's hired. I don't know none of it. All I know is what I heard from talking to this man extensively and seeing the effort that he put into losing a lot of social capital by standing up for black people in an area where his support was incredibly valuable. That's what I saw. Two people I saw this from, Ice Cube and Russell Simmons, and I saw it for myself. I was right there. I got the play-by-play, blow-by-blow. I watched it all go down, and I watched Ice Cube and Russell Simmons. These are the two. I saw these two guys get kicked out of the celebrity inner circle because they did something that was beneficial to the black community. That's all I can vouch for. I cannot vouch for anything else that they've done in their lives, personal or otherwise. And I think that's really important because sometimes people will come to me, well, Dr. Boyce, Russell Simmons got accused of, I don't know nothing about all that. Well, Ice Cube, I don't know nothing about all that. Oh, this person, they running their business. I don't know. All I can tell you is what I know. And so what I'm saying to you is that the reason I'm talking about this topic today is because the ownership of sports leagues by black people is an important step in the implementation of the Powernomics vision described by people like Dr. Claude Anderson. If you read Powernomics, and everybody should read this book, you can go to powernomics.com. Dr. Anderson explains that you should be, as black people, committed to being the primary owners of the means of productions of the things with which you contribute the most. There are very few areas that we dominate more than the field of sports and the field of entertainment. So in the fields of sports and entertainment, we should not just be the mascots getting dragged around by people from other communities who are telling us to rap about nonsense and destroy our kids. We should be owning those labels. We should be owning that industry. The same thing in sports. Instead of us just looking up to the athlete, I want to look up to the owner. I want to see the owner's box full of black men and black women. I want to see thousands of businesses that can build from selling concessions and merchandise at the games that are occurring in a black-owned sports league. It could be done right now. It could be done tomorrow. I could sit down with LeBron and Cube and 5, 10 other people and take all their Twitter followers and all their connections and say, okay, here's how we raise the money to create a league that's ours. I did not have much interest in Colin Kaepernick because Colin Kaepernick is a great guy, but he looked like a Negro fighting to get his job back. I don't give a damn about Kaepernick getting his job back. You getting your job is good for you, but that has nothing to do with what happens in the black community. But I would have loved to stand with Kaepernick if he was out here fighting to create thousands of jobs for the black community by using that power, using that reach, using that influence to develop the foundation of a black-owned sports league. Let me tell you why this is something that really gets me going. When the NFL got started, you could have bought the Chicago Bears for less than $200. You could have bought the Green Bay Packers for $50. You could have bought the Detroit Lions for $200 or $300. You start small and then you make it big. But because we get so addicted to looking at shiny Negroes on TV and we get excited about what the white man got, we feel like everything has to start big. You will never give birth. You can only give birth to a newborn baby. You can never give birth to a full-grown man. LeBron James's mother did not give birth to a child that was 6'8", 240 pounds. That would have killed her. LeBron's mama gave birth to a little infant that barely survived. That's what she did. But she loved that baby. She was committed to that baby, and she fed that baby and nurtured that baby and protected that baby. And then 20 years later, he becomes King James. That's how business works, black people. That's how power works. You don't get the power overnight, and the power will never be given to you. You cannot walk up to some full-grown institution and somehow think that you're going to have the ability to have leverage in terms of how that institution is run. That's somebody else's baby. The NFL is somebody else's baby. The NBA is somebody else's baby. The Major League Baseball, that's somebody else's baby. So instead of babysitting somebody else's full-grown child, you gotta learn to give birth to economic institutions that belong to you. And just like a newborn baby, they're gonna come out tiny, they're gonna be weak, they might be a little ugly and a little bit raggedy. But if you value that child and you spend time with that child and you nurture that baby and you pour into that baby and you love that baby and you value that baby and you do that consistently for tens of thousands of hours, then eventually you get something that becomes a big, strong, full-grown man. And that big, strong, full-grown man, King James, is loyal to you because he knows that you were taking care of him when he was a baby. So the big three, in my view, is one of those babies that I can really respect. I can't really get excited about Colin Kaepernick fighting for a job. I just can't. No disrespect, Colin. I like you. I do. I don't dislike Colin Kaepernick. No hate at all. But you're mad because they fired you. I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. It's okay. I just don't care. I forgive me. Get mad at me. It doesn't inspire me. We've had many black people have jobs. There are other players right now that have great jobs with the NFL, and I'm very happy for every one of them. But I'm trying to move the needle up in this bitch before we get done. I want us to move the needle. I want us making big moves. I want us making Sam Walton moves, who created Walmart. I want us making the same moves by the McDonald's brothers, who created the McDonald's Corporation. I want us making the kind of intergenerational moves that will leave an impact. No black child 50 years from now is going to give a damn if their granddaddy had a good job. They're not going. And no black child will be able to inherit any economic entity that comes from his grandmama having a good job. They're just not. The only thing they can inherit is something that you create that becomes an institution that becomes self-sustaining and controlled by you. That's why this battle between Ice Cube and the NBA is a battle I can relate to. And this is why Ice Cube and I got along, because I could tell that this is a guy that understands what is required to build empires. So I support this battle 100%, but I also support you in your battle because I know the battles y'all are fighting. You know, the celebrities are doing their thing. Ice Cube's going to do his thing, but also I need you to do your thing. Maybe you're not running a league, a sports league like Ice Cube, but you got that little business that you're trying to build. You got that little entity that you're trying to create for your kids. You've got your own little family empire that you want to grow into something big and powerful. And I want to encourage you, pour into that. That's the most important thing you could be doing on this earth. There is no company you could work for on this entire planet that is more important than the company that is represented by your last name. Give me a yes if you understand where I am coming from, because I got to bring it back to you. So I'm going to finish up. The last thing I'm going to lay out here, I was laying out the signs of anti-competitive behavior. The last one, and I think this does relate to what Cube is dealing with, is number 7 will be the refusal to deal. So if companies refuse to do business with certain people or other companies, they may be doing this to reduce competition. So this is another accusation that Ice Cube has made toward the NBA, that basically they're just like, we ain't gonna deal with you. We don't want to work with you. We don't want to partner with you. And from what I've gathered in my conversations with Cube, I get the sense that that partnership is something that he would like to pursue. Is that going to happen? Nobody knows. So where this is going to go, I have no idea. I hope he wins. But in general, I think that all of our, our high paid guys on TV that are playing sports and rapping and everything else, I hope that we can hit a point of economic maturity. In my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I talk about what economic maturity looks like. Economic maturity is where you go, to use the words of the rapper T.I., it's where you go, where you have big things popping and little things stopping. It goes from where you stop thinking like a child and you start behaving like a grown man. It goes from when you stop trying to do little things and you start doing bigger things. It goes from when you stop bragging and wasting your money and spending it on stupid consumer items and making sure that you're investing your money into enterprises that don't just develop sustainable capital, but also create infrastructure that provides opportunity for others. So what I'm looking for, what I can't wait to see, and this is going to happen at some point, is I'm looking forward to when you have a group of athletes and entertainers who get together and say, we're going to go to our banks that we're connected to, and we're going to raise $10 billion, and we're going to do like Elon Musk, and we're going to create 100,000 jobs in the hoods that we came from. That's the kind of thing that you can do that will make a difference. That's the kind of thing that you can do that will move the needle. That's the kind of thing that big boy finance looks like. That's what big boy economics looks like. So let's do some big boy economics, big girl economics, and create jobs, possibilities, and opportunities for others, instead of simply using that old language we used to use. And give me a guess if you remember this old language. The old language used to be, just give me an opportunity. I hope they give me an opportunity. Well, one of the things about that is that is a very limited statement. When you say, I hope they give me an opportunity, that is you basically saying that you don't have the ability to create and manifest your own opportunities. That's like an athlete saying, I hope they give me a chance to score. I hope they allow me to get the ball into the end zone. And one of the things you must understand about the game of power, this is a powernomics conversation today. This is what we're discussing. The thing about the game of power is that when it comes to true power, don't nobody give you nothing. There has never been a football game that Coach Prime has ever played in where the defense gave him an opportunity to score. There's never been a time where he said, well, you know what? I've been really nice to you. I've let y'all score 5 touchdowns. I'm hoping that you will allow me to have a touchdown too, so I can go feed my family or somehow feel better about myself, right? There's no point where that happens, right? So this idea, I need you to get this notion out of your head. We must go from being people that wait for somebody to pass us the ball. Instead, learn how to become playmakers. If you know sports, you'll know that a playmaker is not a person who needs you to give him an opportunity to score. It is a person who finds a way to score even if the defense won't allow him to. So what I'm saying to you is that economically speaking, the NBA is doing exactly what you expect. They're doing exactly what a lot of people would do if they're in that position of dominance. All they're doing is they're playing defense. That's what they're doing. And is it illegal defense? Yeah, it could. It absolutely. Is it unethical? Of course, right? Is it wrong? Yeah, it is. But in the world of power, don't nobody give a damn about what you think is right and wrong. Don't nobody care if it hurts your feelings. In the world of power, nobody cares if they're being mean to you. You have to decide that you're going to be strong enough to be a playmaker in your own life. You have to decide, am I going to either get the trophy or am I going to walk away and complain that the only reason they got the trophy is because they cheated? Well, you can do that if you want to. There's entire coalitions of like whining, crying Negroes that you can easily join. They'll be happy to accept you and your white woman tears if that's where you want to be. If you want to sit in the group of Black people who sits around crying about all the mean things white people are doing to us, then that's fine. I don't have anything against you. I would just say this is not the right place for you. You should probably go to the Whining Negro Coalition, and I'm sure there's plenty out there. They're holding a march and a prayer vigil in a city near you. But for those that really want to fight, and those that really want to win, and those that really want to achieve, then that's not going to be easy. When you come up the hill shooting, they're going to shoot back. So, and I get a sense Ice Cube probably understands that. He's just playing a game with them. They're protecting their interests, and he's trying to get something for his own family. And I respect that immensely. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I think he's in the right, but what I think doesn't matter. What does matter is whether or not he can find a way to win. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. God bless you. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. My YouTube channel, Linda, you can go to drboycetv.com. So you look up Dr. Boyce TV, you can find me there. Also, if you want to find me on Spotify or Apple, you just look up Boyce Watkins, you can find me there. My new book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you'd like to go take a look at that. And also we have flashcards to go with the book. And I put the book on Audible because you guys asked for it. It's an Amazon bestseller. I hope you guys will take a look. It will change your life. I guarantee it. The reviews are already in. Go look at Amazon. All the reviews are great. So I know you guys love the book. And I'm very happy about that because I poured my heart and soul into the book to create a simple framework that we can build the kind of family empires that we deserve. I'm ready for this fight. I'm looking for economic soldiers. We got to be soldiers in this game because we ain't got no damn friends. Don't go on the battlefield looking for friends. You go on the battlefield looking to conquer territory and looking to win. That's what we're seeking to do. So feel free to go take a look at the book, drboycebooks.com. Also, if you'd like to get a discount on next year's All Black National Convention, a lot of you came to the ABNC this year in Atlanta. The tickets are limited. We're not going to sell more than 600 tickets because we do not want too many people at the convention. I want it to be family reunion style. So if you'd like to join us next year, and you can actually get a discount for the next 4 days, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So take care, everybody. God bless you. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.